Hi there, this is Lady Shell. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a basic character using Fantasy Grounds Unity. I will be using the Player's Handbook and the D&D 5e rule set. This video is an extra episode of our Fantasy Grounds Unity A through Z series. Instead of streaming in between our bi-weekly episodes, Leroon and I will occasionally bring you an extra taped video on a Unity topic. In episode 2, we brought you connecting and setting up the table as a player, showing both the cloud connection and the LAN connection. In this episode fits in right after that episode, showing how a player can create a basic character using Unity. Let it be known that whether you create a character using Classic or Unity, the method is the same to do so. This video will show you how to load a campaign and then log in to create your character. In a future video, we will show you how to add further customization to the basic character sheet to further enhance your character. Now, let's begin. So I'm going to load my campaign, which is called Character Creation 101, and let's click Start. Okay. So we are on the table. I am going to first open my library and, I already have my books loaded. I was going to say I'm going to load the Player's Handbook, but apparently it's loaded. And as for the view, I would like to click on Create PC, which it's already on Create PC, because I don't need to see all the banners, only need to see the ones that will pertain to creating your character. So I'm going to open up the character sheet, and I have a character already created on here, but I'm going to start with a brand new one. Now the name of my character is going to be Gilda Flamebeard, and from that name I am sure that you will recognize it sounds like I'm going to be making a dwarf, which is true. So I'm going to make my sheet narrow, and then I'm going to stretch it down to the bottom. And we always start making our character by rolling the abilities first. Now you could use the standard array, or you can use 46, drop the lowest, or you can use point buy. The character that I'm going to make today, I think I'm going to try the 46, which is a risk because I could end up with like a 6 and something. But I have these 46 saved down here in my toolbar. So I'm just going to click on it 6 times, and those are the numbers that I will use. Okay, so what do we have? We have a 12, a 15, a 8, a 10, a 13, and a 12. Okay, so I'm going to use the 15 in my wisdom because I'm making a cleric. I'm going to use my 13 in dex. I am going to use my 12 in con and in strength. And then I have a 10 and an 8. You know, this is not that much different from if I would have used standard array. I'm going to keep the 10 in intelligence and put an 8 in charisma. So these are the stats that I'm going to start with. The next thing that you want to do after you roll your abilities is choose a background. So we're going to open up the backgrounds flag, and I am just going to choose the Acolyte because it makes the most sense with the cleric. And you can see that it added Shelter of the Faithful feature, and I am proficient in Insight and Religion, plus I have 2 languages that I can add to my sheet. The next thing we're going to do is race. Open the races tab. I am going to choose dwarf, drag it up, and close the background. And I want a hill dwarf because that gives me extra wisdom. I'm making a cleric, so that makes sense. So there we go. and it has given me Dwarven Resilience and Stone Cunning for traits. These are racial traits. And I got combat training. I have a speed of 25. I have an additional 2 to my constitution. And I can speak in Common and in Dwarvish. I have a tool proficiency, which I will have to choose. I have Dark Vision. And I have Dwarven Toughness. And I have an additional +1 to my Wisdom. So that is all that I got from my race. And the final thing that I want to do on this, well, after I gave you the name, but I didn't type it in. Flamebeard. Okay, and the last thing is your class. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to choose Cleric from the Player's Handbook. Drag that over. Close that down. And it is asking me to choose 2 additional skills. It's very important that you open your skills tab when you get these options, because you don't want to pick skills that you already were proficient in, because doubling up does not add anything to the existing proficiency. So I want to choose History and Medicine. And then I'm going to click OK. And it's asking me to choose a domain. I am going to make her a light cleric, because later on in the series we will be using this to demonstrate some spells that I would get from being a light cleric. So that is all we're doing right now on the skills tab. I'm going to go back to my main sheet, and I'm going to continue by leveling her up to level 3. Now I clicked the magnifying glass, and then I'm going to take the shield. I'm going to drag it off of the pop-up and then back on, and one more time, and let go. So this gave me additional, it gave me the light domain, it gave me the History and Medicine, which I picked. It gave me a saving throw proficiency for Wisdom and Charisma. And I have light and medium armor and shields. I have simple weapons. And I have spell casting, a warding flare feature, and a bonus cantrip. And then I have Dwarven Toughness again. I have Channel Divinity, which is Radiance of the Dawn. And then again, the Dwarven Toughness, adding the additional hit points. I could close this down because I'm finished with leveling her up, and she ends up with a 12 strength. That is not correct. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, that's because I didn't choose standard array. Oh well, I guess she's just not going to be able to use her scale mail, because you need 13 strength to use that. So yeah, she's not going to be a very good cleric with AC wise anyway. She does have good wisdom, so her spells will be good, but she's not charismatic. She has a decent dex, and her con is good. So going to the abilities tab, I'm going to open up things that I'm going to need later on when I'm creating this character. When I go on the actions tab, I have a bonus cantrip, which means that I get the light spell. Now I've already looked this up, and I know that my character gets to prepare 6 spells per day, and she gets 3 cantrips, but with the bonus cantrip, I'll be able to pick 4 cantrips. I'm going to have Radiance of the Dawn, but I'm not going to be adding that to the character at this time. That's going to come when I do the additional video with the bonus features, different customization. I have Divine Domain, which is Light Domain. I'm going to open that up because I am going to add these spells. I get an additional 4 spells. Now these spells are always available. I do not have to count them towards the 6 spells that I get to practice each day. They will go in the same spell area as the regular spells, but I know that they are not part of the 6. Okay, Shelter the Faithful is a role-playing thing. Warding Flare, I'm going to add that later because that is a special feature that will come in the customization. Dwarven Combat Training says that I get to, along with just all simple weapons, I also get to, I have proficiency in Battle Axe, Hand Axe, Light Hammer, and Warhammer. So I am going to copy that and I'm going to paste it in with my weapons. And I'm going to take out the word and close this down. The Dwarven Resilience is a trait for race, and Dwarven Toughness was the thing about the extra hit points every level. Stone Cunning is a racial trait. And finally, Tool Proficiency allows me to choose one of these 3 artisan tools to add as something that I'm proficient in. I am going to choose Smith's tools. And because I am choosing something, I'm going to make a notation on my sheet. I am also going to go back to the Skills tab and I'm going to click Edit. I'm going to click the green plus because I want to make sure that I am proficient in this because that's what it said. Smith's Tools. And I want to click the star. And then it moved it down here because it likes to alphabetize. I'm going to associate that with Strength and close that back down, and then I want to close the editing so that I don't mistakenly delete something. Okay, so that was Smith's Tools. I have my armor, I have my weapons, and I have Common and Dwarvish, but I can choose 2 more languages. Now, what if you don't know what languages are available? You can open the Options tab up here, the little wheel or the gear. And in the options, I can set, excuse me, not the options, languages. You click on the languages and now I can see the languages that I can choose. It is also very important that when you add a language that you type it exactly the way that it is shown here. Because if I type Halfling but I use a small h, it will not recognize that I know Halfling. So let's type Halfling with the capital letter. And I want to know Elvish. Okay, there's my 4 languages. So I'm going to close the languages. I am going to open up inventory. And where do you get your starting inventory? You get it from your background. So I'm going to open that up. And you get it from your class. I'm going to open that up. So I scroll down. Let's start with the Acolyte first. And I'm going to save the cleric over here so I can close that. And it says that I get, oh, right here, equipment. Holy symbols. Let's get on the inventory tab. And having made many characters, I know that there's no such thing as something called a holy symbol in the player's handbook. So what I'm going to do instead is type amulet, which there is an amulet, and I'm going to drag over the amulet to my character sheet. And I'm going to rename the amulet to holy symbol. And I'm going to say that is located on my neck because I'm going to be wearing my holy symbol as a pendant. Okay, and it says that I get a prayer book. Again, there's no such thing as a prayer book, so I'm just going to type book. I'm going to grab the book, move it over, and add the word prayer in front of it. And next, we have sticks of incense. There are no such thing as a stick. There are incense, but the incense are in blocks. So I'm going to take the block, and I'm going to change this to 5 because it says we get 5. And then let's move on to vestments. It says we get vestments. Let's drag that over. it says we get common clothes. Move that over. And I get a belt pouch. There's no such thing as a belt pouch, so I'm going to type pouch. I'm going to drag it over. I'm going to put the word belt in front of it. Okay, so it also says we get 15 gold. So we have to set up our treasure to have gold pieces, GP, silver pieces, SP, electrum pieces, EP, and finally copper pieces, CP. And then in the GP, I'm going to type 15. Now we are done with the acolyte. We can open the cleric. And we're going to scroll down to where it tells us what we get as a cleric. It says we get either a mace or a warhammer. And if you recall, I do have proficiency in warhammer, so I am going to choose warhammer. So let's type warhammer here. And I'm going to drag that over. It says that I get scale mail or leather armor or chain mail. Now, because my strength is not high enough to wear the scale mail, I'm going to have to wear leather. And it says I get a crossbow with 20 bolts, or I get a simple weapon. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to have a ranged weapon in my inventory. So, crossbow. And I'm going to start with the 20 crossbow bolts. And then I'm going to take a light crossbow from the Player's Handbook. And finally, I want to have a case for my crossbow bolts to be stored in. And I'm going to change this to crossbow bolt case. Okay. And when we go to the crossbow bolts, I'm going to type crossbow bolts. Okay. So that's that. And now we have a priest pack or an explorer's pack. I'm going to choose the priest pack because I am a cleric, so that makes a lot of sense. Priest pack, let's drag that over. And finally I get a shield. Regular shield, not an animated shield. Okay. And it says a holy symbol, which we already have, so we don't need to do anything with that. What I do want to fix is my inventory, so I'm going to put all my items in the backpack that would belong in the backpack. So I'm going to erase the word empty, go all the way back to the letter K, and then everything that goes in the backpack, if I type a capital B, it will start with that. Belt pouch, I'm not going to put in there. Blanket, yes. Candle, yes. Censer, yes. Clothes, vestments. Incense. Prayer book. Rations. Tinderbox. And water skin. Now click up here again and you'll see everything that is in the backpack is indented. The bolts are in the case, so they're indented, and then the holy symbol is on my neck, which doesn't have a actual thing to be on. Now if you wonder why we put our things in the backpack, it is because if you were role playing or you were playing in a game and you dropped your backpack, it no longer has a carried location, and everything within the backpack is also dropped. So you do not have access to any of this when you drop your backpack. You also see that the weight went down to 27.5, and when I pick my backpack back up, it goes up to 67.81. So we're finished with our inventory. We can close the cleric screen down and we can move on to notes. Now, if I was using this character in an actual campaign, I would add the gender, age, weight, height, alignment, and deity, but we're not going to be messing with that. We're going to go back to our Acolyte tab, or Acolyte pop-up, because there are some tables that you can roll. And I'm going to delete this text over here so I can see what comes up from my rolls. The personality traits, I roll that, and then to add it to my sheet, I'm just going to left click on the text and drag it to the position that you want it to save in. Do the same with your ideals. Your bonds. And finally, your flaw. So now our Notes tab is finished. Now we're going to move down to the actions, close the cleric again, and we want to do this bonus cantrip. Nope, but that didn't work. Hang on. I'm going to get the cantrip from the spells list. So it says that I get light, the light cantrip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the source, click on cleric, click on 0 for level, which is your cantrips, drag over the light, close it. I'm also going to take Sacred Flame, Spare the Dying, and Thaumaturgy. Now I like to click on the magnifying glasses so that I'm only using one line, because when you start getting a lot of spells, your sheet can get really long and it takes a lot of scrolling to go through things. So I like to make mine as short as possible. I'm going to change to level 1, and this will show me all my level 1 spells. But first, before I do this, I'm going to add my 4 light domain spells. So you see that they went in the first and second level categories. And again, I click on the magnifying glasses so that they're not taking up a bunch of space. Then I'm going to pick 4 first level spells and 2 second level spells. You can do them any way that you want. You can choose any 6 spells that you wish, but I'm just going to do it this way because I get 6 and 4 and 2 is 6, which makes a lot of sense to me. I'm going to choose Bless. I'm going to choose Cure Wounds. I'm going to choose Command. And I'm going to choose Healing Word. And again, I'm going to close the magnifying glass so that it is not taking up 2 lines. That's all of my first level spells. Let's go to second level. I am now going to choose 2 spells here. I'm going to choose Lesser Restoration, and I'm going to choose Spiritual Weapon. Now I have all my spells done. I have my domain spells done. Now I would like to practice my spells, or prepare. So down here where it says Standard under Mode, click on that once and it turns to Preparation Mode. Then on Display, turn this to Actions. Now remember, I get two of the spells were not part of the 6 spells that I get each day to practice, and those were my Fairy Fire and Burning Hands, and my Flaming Spear and my Scorching Ray. So now I get to pick 6 more spells, which is the remaining spells that I have available. Now to use this in your game, you would change the preparation to combat, and that would be all down here. But I do see one other thing I forgot to do, and that was to add my ammo, which would allow me to use my crossbow, because they ain't no good if you don't have any ammo, right? So this sheet is complete as a basic sheet, and if you will watch my next video, you'll see where I take Gilda Flamebeard and I add additional things on her to make her a little more fancy. So I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.